So hello everybody, welcome to our Rocket.Chat Apps Development webinar. Today we're going to be building a Rocket.Chat app that integrates with GitHub to showcase what our Apps-Engine enables us to do. I'm your Apps Development Advocate. I'm Douglas Gubert, and I'm joined here by our lead support engineer, Bruno Raimundo. How are you doing, Bruno?
Fine, Doug. How about you? Nice to be here and assist you with this webinar.
All right. So, first of all, what is the Rocket.Chat Apps-Engine? The Apps-Engine is actually what enables us to develop these extensions to Rocket.Chat without deep diving into the base code, which is actually humongous by this time, with like thousands of contributions by the open source community. And so we have this framework to help us change a little bit the behavior of Rocket.Chat to make it more suitable for our needs and to integrate with other systems and platforms, etc. Right. So first of all, we're going to need, of course, some Node.js installed on our machine, preferably 8.11.4. This version, it's the one that Meteor supports, and as you probably know, Rocket.Chat runs on Meteor. Of course, you're going to need Meteor installed in our machine as well. Here you have it. I have a Rocket.Chat development instance running already. It's on the develop branch, so we have it running on version 1.0.0 develop, which is it's going to be our next official version. And we're going to also need the Rocket.Chat Apps-Engine CLI. So for that, we're going to install it. Right. So first of all, installing the Rocket.Chat App CLI. Of course, I have it, but I'm going to show you here. It's actually an npm package. So you run npm install at Rocket.Chat/apps CLI. All right, let's do this. Okay, install Rocket.Chat/apps CLI. Now we have available for us the rc-apps command, which will assist us during our development here. So first, we're going to create an app using the rc-apps create command. First, I'm going to go here to to my development directory, make a great directory for us. It's going to be here, webinar. All right, let's go there. And here, let's run the rc-apps create command. So now it's going to ask us for some questions, such as the app name. We're going to make a GitHub integration, right? That description integrates GitHub with your Rocket.Chat. Okay. Author's name, well, since I'm working for Rocket.Chat, it's obviously Rocket.Chat. And the home page, you can actually put here an email as well, so support.rocket.chat. Oops, no, that was okay. We can change that later, so no problem. Support Rocket.Chat. So now it's creating our app for us. It's a scaffolding, a simple app. And let's open it here on my VS Code. So here we go. So RC Apps created for us this structure, right, for us to get started with our development. So the important bits here, the GitHub integration app TS. So we already know from now that we're going to be using TypeScript for the development. It actually assists us a lot with the typings and to discover the methods and the classes that are available for us. This is our kind of manifest. This is where you put on some of the metadata and description data for your app. And here is where we can change the information I've put wrong. So HTTPS, Rocket.Chat, the actual homepage. Right, so everything is here. Some things, some slugs, everything, the name, and the class file, which is kind of the entry point of your app. So the entry point should export a class that extends the app class that we provide, the Apps-Engine provide here, for us to be able to build and tell Rocket.Chat what we're going to do, right, inside the app. So here I'm going to just put on a method here that initialize for us to just do some testing. Async method maybe. Run is void. And let's do a quick console log here to check if it works. The app. Right. So here we have our first things. What's telling me? The class method initialize must be marked either private, public, or protected. Of course, it's a public method for the engine to be able to access it, right? All right, we can receive some of the some parameters here, but since we're not going to use them, I think it's not important right now. So I have my Rocket.Chat running here, and I'll install it in the Rocket.Chat for us to test this app in our development environment. So RC apps, we're going to be using this again. Just to see a little help, we can use the deploy command. So RC apps deploy. It's going to package our app, and it's going to ask us for some of the information it needs. So I'm going to put HTTP localhost 3000. It's the URL of my server. The Gubert, my user, and my password. Okay, it's deployed. Okay, so now we go to the administration here on Rocket.Chat instance, apps. It's going to load the marketplace here. This is the list of the apps we have right now on our marketplace. It's going to change real soon to add more. And here on the install tab, we have GitHub integration that we just made. So we come here and activate it, so it's able to run this app by Rocket.Chat. Right. So here we have the logs that our app produces while running. We have the timestamp and the type of method that it's being called currently. So right now it's called the constructor, initialize, set status, unenable, and set status again. It's obviously with different states of the app. So now it's initialized and After that, it's going to be manually enabled because we enabled it in the UI. Here is our console log that we've put here on our initialize method, right? So let's dive now in what we can do. We have quite some features and hooks that the engine provides to add features to your app. So right now we're going to start with adding a webhook, right? So to add an app webhook, we must override. I'm going to take this out right now because we don't need it anymore. So we're going to override another method, which is called extend. Here, let's see if it. Oh, here. Here are some suggestions on what methods we have available on this class. And here we have extend configuration, which is the one guy that we need to provide some another configurations to our Rocket.Chat. So we need this first one here, this first parameter here, configuration. Right, so configuration, that's what we need. And its type is configuration extend. This is the guy automatically imported here by VS Code. And I'm not sure on the return type. I don't remember which one it is. It's promise void. So, okay, we don't have to return anything, just a promise of the async signature. All right. So here is the entry point for our modifications on the system. So we want to provide a webhook, which in the engine language is actually you provide APIs, right? So we're going to call a configuration method that enables us to provide APIs. So we use a provide API here. And right, we have some parameters here, and TypeScript is going to once again help us with what we can pass to the engine. So here we first put visibility. So actually here it wants to, we have a enumeration, an enum, where we can choose if this API is going to either be public or private. So right now we're going to put it public. And security, which is the other parameter we can provide. It's another enum, and it's going to use unsecure here. So, right, and endpoints, which are the actual endpoints we're going to expose with our app. It's an array. And in this array, we're going to instantiate endpoint classes. So for that, I usually create a folder here that's endpoints, and then I create a new file, which I'm going to call Webhook endpoint.ts. And it's going to export a class, which we're going to call Webhook endpoint. And to hook with our engine, we're going to extend a API endpoint. Here's what we get. So with this endpoint, we provide a public path, which is going to be for us webhook. This is what's going to go out, right? And then we can provide the methods. That it's the HTTP methods that it's going to respond to. So it's going to be either get, we can use it here, or even, so I think for GitHub, we're going to use a post method, right? Promise, and it returns a I'm not sure what it is. So for this moment, where we're not sure, we can go to the documentation on the, here, this one, on the classes and the interfaces that we have available for us during the development phase, right? So here I'm actually on the API endpoint. So it's this one, and it has the path, right? The property we've just defined, these methods, right there. So it implements the API endpoint. Here are the HTTP methods that we have to override, right? So we want the post method. So here are the parameters that we're going to get. The request, endpoint info, read, modify, HTTP, and persist. We're going to go over these ones later, right? So, and it returns an API response. All right, so let's put that there. Easier on us, right? So async, public, and extends maximum lines. So right now we're going to just put new lines here for every parameter, just so that VS Code stops complaining about that. All right, so here we're getting ready for receiving our endpoint, right? Right now, we just want to experiment. So let's go and instantiate the webhook endpoint. Do it like that, webhook endpoint. And as you can see, it receives a app as a constructor parameter. We're going to pass this app in order to instantiate it, right? Some words here, formatting, okay. Now, again, with the rc deploy command, we can actually make some shortcuts here and pass these kind of parameters to the CLI command so that it's easier for us to make this deployment. And I'm gonna put this flag right here. It's --update. Since we have already installed the app in our RC, we are going to need to update it. So VS Code can help us with that. Oopsie. We go to the end, control space. It's gonna help us importing everything. All right. Let's try again. RC app deploy. Some more. Protected modifier must precede async. Oh, this is on the. So this is another quite cool thing. You control click in this link here, and it takes you there, so that you can do it. Fix your problem. So protected, async, and a function whose declared type is either void or any must not return a value. Sorry. Oh, must return a value, of course. So here we return this success, which is a method from our parent class that returns the success message to the requester. If you want to, we can actually control click in the API endpoint here, and we are able to browse through the library in the class that is actually created by the engine, provided by the engine to our apps. All right, Let's try again here. Text deployed. So right now, we'll just go back to our Rocket.Chat instance, and we can see here that it's also recognized that we have provided a API endpoint, which is a post webhook, and it's telling us how to run that, right? So it's this guy here. Some things to note, I think this slash is not needed. Looks like it's not needed. So if we do this again, I think it's going to get a little bit better. Here. Yeah, so there's no double dashes here anymore. All right. Now, I'm going to use one of my repos. It's my settings nailvim repo to try and test this webhook, right? So here we come to webhooks. Now, of course, we are in our development environment, right? So the internet cannot come here. GitHub cannot send us anything unless we provide a way for it to do it. And during the development, I really like to use this tool. It's called ngRock, and then create a tunnel to our HTTP port 3000. So here it is. Here we have our new base link. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to have to make a little configuration adjustment here. So we go to our Rocket.Chat administration in the settings, search for general, and in this site URL, we update it and put here the link that ngRock gave us, the tunnel, right? So just to demonstrate, if we access it here right now, it's gonna get us right back to our instance through the internet. A little bit. Here we are. I can log in again. And that's it. One thing that's going to change as well here is if we access our app here, it's not going to show. It wasn't supposed to show. Did I save it? Yep, save changes. Let's refresh it here, just so it updates. So administration apps, install, go to our apps again. And here it has already updated the full link for our webhook to point to our tunnel that we just made with ngRock, right? So this is the guide that we're gonna use to create our webhook. So I'm gonna go to my repo here. I'm going to create a webhook, confirming my password. All right, and we're going to do it like this. We post it here and take off this bit. This is the content type. This is a secret. We don't need one now. By default, we verified SSL certificates. So let's disable here because we're just developing. But in production, as we've seen, it's already recommended for us to enable the SSL verification. And since in production you're going to probably be using this SSL certification already, that's going to work quite well. Which events would you like to trigger this webhook? Just the push event. I think that's okay. And active. So we add this webhook. Go here. Oh, this is just the recent delivery. So, it sent us something already, right? So now, here on our app details, we can go to the logs and actually see that the API executor has already executed with the payload sent by Webhook, by GitHub, right? So here we have the user agent and the event and the delivery. So it has come from GitHub already. And this is the default. This is like logged for every API execution that's going to happen. So you don't need to do anything in order for it to really appear here, right? We've put a success here. So GitHub knows that it's okay, right? And now let's just test that our webhook works. So I'm going to open another bit of terminal here. cd dev and GitHub. Where is my? Here is my Neovim repository. Let's just check what can I do here. I can alter the README. Right, so Vim README. Just make some inserts here. I'm going to put nearby Gubert and quick Vim. Commit my alterations. README. And push it. Okay. So now we check it here. Our webhooks again. It has sent another payload. And checking our logs, we can see that we've received this another payload, right? Here we don't see the contents because it omits for the sake of brevity, right? But we can now start working with our payload. So first of all, let's check what we have in this request object. We have the content, we have the headers, method, parent, private hash, and query. So this is these are the properties of a common HTTP request, right? So let's just use our app and get our logger to debug our request for us to really grasp what's going on there. So let's do this. Just log here and deploy the operations. Wait for it. All right. Now we should see another log here under here whenever the webhook happens again. So what do we do? Let's make revert commit and then push the revert to GitHub. And let's check our apps log in order to see what happened. So this is the set status on enabled because we updated the app in this instance. So it runs all the constructor, initialize, set status, everything again. And the API executor here. All right. I'm really not sure why this happens. Okay, so we're not getting content here. I'm not sure if there's something with GitHub. I'd say probably. But so let's make do with what we have, right? So let's add a notification to our Rocket.Chat app about telling the app that we've received the webhook. So to send a notification, we actually have to set up some things here. So to send the message, we first start with the modify, which enables us to modify the current state of the Rocket.Chat app. So we do it here, modify. We want to create a message or notificator. So we get creator. And we start a message. It is a async method, and we're going to get a message, right? Message. And here is how we can adapt the message and set the settings and the data for the message, right? So right now we're gonna set the sender, and for that we need a user that we can see here. So we're gonna get a sender here. I'm going to use now the read parameter, which allows us to read from Rocket.Chat environment. So read, and we want to get the user reader so that we can get a user, right? Get by ID, and I'm going to use here the ID of Rocket.Cat. Rocket.Cat is our robot user, and it comes pre-installed with every instance. So here we got a sender, and we're going to set the sender. But since we're using a builder pattern here, we can actually chain the methods. We're gonna use that to set the room. So again, we need a room to do that. So const room, await, read, get room reader, get by ID, and the general room. Yeah. This is the room that comes by default with your installation. Every instance has a general room, and its ID is going to be general like this. So we're going to put a room here. And just to test it, we're going to set a text. It's going to be GitHub Webhook received. And to actually send the message, so here we have the message. Here we alter the message and set some properties. And to actually send the message, we're going to again use the modifier, and the creator again, and then we finish sending the message builder, which we just got before, right? And then deploy it. Ooh. Argument room or undefined is not assignable. So okay, we'll just do a little check here. So if not room, we're just gonna throw a new error. Stating that no room is configured for the message, right? Okay. Map updated. I think maybe we can. Is there a way to send a test? Oh, we can redeliver here. So redeliver is supposed to be delivered. Okay. Yes, we delivered the payload. And we can see I'm going to open another one so that we can actually leave the apps details page open there. So, okay, I don't want to do that. And here we have Rocket.Cat say GitHub webhook received, which is the text that we've just told it to send us here. There is a lot of other options you can do. We can set attachments. We can change the avatar URL. We can change metadata. We can set editor for someone that edited the message, and quite others properties of the message that we have in our Rocket.Chat instance already. So you can configure it very well to meet your needs, right? So, okay. Now, we can provide settings for our app, right? Our app can ask the Rocket.Chat app to actually get some settings from the user. So for that, we come back here to the extend configuration method in our main app class, and we do it like this. And this configuration, we're going to call, and we can see here that we have settings and provide setting method, which gets an object of the interface I setting. So here are all the same things that we can provide to the settings. We're going to do it right. We're going to start doing it right now. So here, public, it's a Boolean value. We're going to pass true. We're going to provide an ID to make sure we can identify it. So we can make a configuration to change, for instance, the name of the sender here, to change it with the method set username alias. All right, so let's say that it's called GitHub username alias, right? Value and values, we don't need it. Section, no. So INTN label. We're gonna call it same thing, GitHub username alias. And we're gonna work on our IATN internationalization later. We should now be able to see when we go to the GitHub integration app details page, we see that there are the GitHub username alias that we've just defined. It's a setting which is starting as GitHub. So Rocket.Chat, due to this type setting right here, it's able to render the appropriate field. Just let us configure the setting that we want. So right now here, we're going to get this setting. So the username alias. And again, we're going to use the read that enables us to do this reading. So get read. So get environment reader. Get settings. Get by ID. And we're going to provide the ID that we've created here, which is GitHub user alias. So we're going to use the value that is the current value that is defined by the engine. And we're going to do it again. And again, we're going to redeliver the payload. and yes, that value. Maybe it's because I haven't saved it. Let's do this. Oh, okay. So here we've grouped all the messages. That's the default behavior for Rocket.Chat. So what we can do here is set groupable to false. So it actually doesn't group messages, and you can see the changes that we've made. GitHub bot, it's here. Due to the set username, it is here. And we've just used the settings that we provided here in our extend configuration. So another thing that we can do here is provide /comments. So for that, I like to create another folder, /comments. Create a file in there. Let's call it GitHub. It's going to be the name of our comment. And we're going to export a class called GitHub comment. /comments actually implements the interface of the /comment. And there's a bunch of properties that we have to set here for the /comment to work. So we can do like this. We can set this one, the comment, which is, we can see some more detail, which is a string, that it's going to be the name of our comment. So this is going to be GitHub. We also set some, it's called the terms example. It's again going to be the internationalization. We're going to go to that later. So let's see, GitHub comment example. Another one again, description. GitHub comment description. And the last one that we have to provide is provides prevail, which gets to false, right? And to actually intercept the execution of this, we use this execution method. It's going to be an async method. And it returned void as well. And we get some nice parameters here. So let's get the parameters out again from our documentation. Let's get it nice. In here, import the definitions. Return void. And we're ready to go. Here, we can provide it again, another configuration, /comments, provide /comment. And again, it's a instance of i/comment, the interface. So we're going to instantiate it in GitHub command. And we're going to pass the interface as well as we did with the Webhook endpoint. So here, since this is an interface, we need to actually declare the constructor and receive the app ourselves. So private read-only app, an instance of, it's a type of app. And deploy again. All right, no errors. So let's just send a message here to notify the user that we've sent a message. We've executed this /command. So again, we're going to use this code again. We don't need to use alias. Oh no, let's keep the alias. Same things, we need to get the message. It's coming here in the parameters with the modify. We define the sender, Rocket.Cat, define the room, and this, we're going to change it to get the room from the context and send it to the exact room that actually executed the command. Context, get room. Right, so context, get room. Message, and we're going to use the modifier to again send a message. And now we're going to actually send a notification. Notifications are like ephemeral messages that go away once you exit your Rocket.Chat. So we notify a room. That's the room that we're going to notify. And the message. So we got here, get the message. And since this is a message builder and not a message, we actually have to call the get message method. Okay, Bruno, here you are. Again, deploy the app so that we can test it. And in the general, we go here, we have the GitHub command and the message that the /command executed. Same, in the same message, so let's change it to /command executed. Let's go again. /command executed. Okay, guys, so this is just scratching the surface of our Rocket.Chat Apps-Engine, of what it can do. This is the basic things that you almost certainly are going to implement in your app, which are given a API here in our configuration, getting settings to the user for they to configure whatever you wanted to configure in your app. In this case, we use it to configure the username of our user, and provide the /commands that you may want to execute. And most certainly, you're going to either want your webhook to send a message to a room, right? Or we're going to actually send a message with the /command. There are other things you can do, you can see here, we have the HTTP and persist parameters. These are used for you to make HTTP calls and persist data for your apps. And you can also listen to message hooks, so you can execute your app when a message is sent by the user, for instance, and you can prevent that message from being sent, or you can do anything that you want with the content of the message, update it, or do something after the message is posted on the room. We have some examples of that here in our marketplace. So for instance, we have this content filter app that actually prevents the message of being sent from being sent if it matches a singular regex. Yeah, so we have some questions that we've gathered from some other developers that have been using our apps engine. So first of all, Rodrigo, how are you doing?
Hello, guys. I'm doing pretty well. And you? It's a pleasure to be here, and was a nice webinar. Congrats.
Thanks, and thank you for joining us. So many guys from on the community have asked us quite some questions on how the apps engine work and things like that. And one of the most asked questions is, why TypeScript?
Yeah, for sure. This is an important question, and we hear that all the time. Yeah, TypeScript helps us to provide understandable APIs, and as we could see, we have a good autocomplete, and it's keeping improving, and Visual Code, as it's from Microsoft, as TypeScript is as well, it's keep improving us to help us as developers. So it allows us to reduce errors and enforcing types. It sometimes forces us, for example, to check for parameters that you should check before you start using it, because it could be undefined, for example. And of course, it allows us to easily evaluate the code for automated reviews that allow us to have better apps and block certain APIs access and try to improve the security checks.
That's a great point, and helps us doing this discovery of the things we can do.
Exactly.
Another thing is, how and when will my app be executed? So when is the app really executed in the engine?
Yeah. Well, once the app is installed, it will run in every instance of Rocket.Chat you are running. So as soon as you enable the app, the code will load up inside all the instances and will be ready for being called by webhooks and the slash commands and trigger or act to events of messages, like prevent messages, as you mentioned, that integration you have for block content. Yep. So, yeah, and it starts when you start an instance and stops when you stop the instance. So it runs inside each instance. It's quite related to all instances you are running. It may change in the future. We are planning to, but right now it's that how it works.
What sort of features should I add with the apps engine right now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that currently the most appropriate functionality for the apps is integrations with other systems, notifications from external services, fetch information from external services through HTTP requests, stuff like this. I told remember people to say thanks to each other every once a while. So I guess creativity really plays a big role here. We are constantly working on the engine to expand the functionality to meet your creativity's demands, so stay tuned for this.
Lastly, what sort of features are not appropriate for the Rocket.Chat apps?
Yeah, that's an even harder question, because I don't think there is something that's not appropriated. We don't support some functionalities yet, like theming and UI changes, but we really want to make the app engine, the core of Rocket.Chat, allowing developers to extend and modify almost everything. So we don't have a list of inappropriated features for apps, but just current limitations. Yeah, I am really excited with what we are planning for the new features, and mainly with some refactoring we are doing the interface of Rocket.Chat will allow us to start having this kind of theming and UI changes that will make the apps much more powerful.
Great, nice, yeah, great. So guys, I think that's it. Thanks for joining us today. Had great fun showing you how we do that, and I've made some apps myself. Had really good fun wrapping them up. The Atlassian integrations, the bundle that we have right now, I've made them, and it's really fun to integrate that Rocket.Chat with other products. And stay tuned for news. We're on all social media, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And that's it. See you soon, I guess.
Doug. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you, folks.
Thanks everyone for joining.
For this.